All righty. Dear friends, welcome to another geopolitical analysis video with our very own Gregory Mannarino, friend of the channel and frequent visitor. Thanks for being here, Gregory. Appreciate all you do.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate you having me.
Awesome. So let's dive in. Unemployment trending higher, consumer confidence dropping, house index of the Fed showing a decrease. And also an interesting index I like to follow is the capacity utilization that indicates companies' potential output. And this is extremely important because this shows the health of production and whether or not an economy is doing well or not. What is the overview of the economy in the US at the moment? And what are some of the signs that you're paying attention to right now?
Well, I would say right now, everything, but one thing just pops out, just leading right into what you started to allude to a moment ago here. We have 45%, 45% of US small businesses here in the United States not investing in their own futures. 45%. It's a historic number. We have an issue with this is huge. This is going to lead to obviously a further downfall in what was once the backbone of the U.S. economy. It's just dissolving. Everything is dissolving rapidly. It's no surprise, I think, to anyone that follows our work that they're seeing these things right now. But what the shocker to me is, where's the pushback other than people that are following our work? I don't see it anywhere. People literally have become zombified. I don't know what you want to call it, man. There's some crazy going on around here. They're watching themselves, their futures, their family's futures literally just evaporate. And they're sitting back, not taking action, not doing. Again, I have to say this, man. I hate to say it, especially being an American citizen, having served this country in the United States Navy. I can't believe what I'm seeing here. The people they're lost, and it's because they've been divided and conquered, and they don't know which way is up anymore. The propaganda, the lies, the deceptions, the word warping. What am I referring to here? So President Trump just bailed out the farmers to the tune of another $12 billion, but it's not being called a bailout.
Yeah.
It's being called. I mean, they hide this stuff. It's an incredible thing to just witness here. Future payments, whatever they got to call it here, to not allow people to see what's going on. I mean, no one voted for this. No one wants this. I don't care what chain they were wearing.
Yeah.
But they sit back. I have nicknamed these people the Babylon sleepwalkers, and they can't snap out of it. I really believe that it comes down to what's happened here on a micro scale, an individual scale, is people here in the United States, and I think this is more prevalent here. I have friends everywhere, all over the world, and they laugh. They sit laughing at, Greg, what's happening to your country? Why are people not taking to the streets? I think it's a global issue, but I think the hub is here. People have lost their sense of self, their self-identity, their self-worth. So if we see this on a micro scale, you can see this on a macro scale. If you want to just step back and look at the nation itself being destroyed from within. And there's just no way that this is going to stop. If you were to turn on any of the local financial channels here in the United States, the big ones, CNBC, the biggest one, which is like ubiquitous with Wall Street. You got, Fox Business as a big one, Bloomberg, all these guys. They're sitting here. All they're talking about is what the Fed may or may not do tomorrow. I mean, further currency devaluation on the back of artificially expressed rates, vast debt expansion. That's all the market cares about, and it's wiping out our economy. So the same mechanism, that potentially could push the stock market much higher, are crushing the United States, its small businesses, our industry here in the United States. I mean, this is hidden in plain sight. We've not seen what we're witnessing now with U.S. industry since the long depression of the 19th century. I'm referring to the 1870s here, where U.S. industry was in the same boat that it's in now. A wipeout on a massive scale. People can't consume, they're not consuming, so the factories don't produce. This, I mean, it's just economics 101, but it seems like the devils that are in control. They just think people are too stupid to see it. But that's not the people that follow our work, clearly.
Yeah, yeah. It's definitely a major psyop. You can tell how coordinated the media are in terms of just deflecting the real issues, bringing them up very subtly, but then you have what the Fed is going to do, and then AI, and the focus is always in these big conglomerate, these big companies, these big tech firms, and you definitely don't see the representation of middle class. You talk so much about the theft of wealth and the transformation of wealth from the middle class and how we're being evaporated as we go. Now, this has been also reflected in the price of gold and silver. What do you have to say about the rally? Because that has been tremendous. Do you think this is just a prelude of what is to come? Because we're seeing the cracks in the system happen. You've mentioned a lot of that, but we're also seeing the divide between the East and the West, especially in these trade wars that we're in.
I look at gold. You have to look at gold, silver as well. It's like a scorecard in some ways. But again, what are people doing? The setup is pretty simple. You have this machine. And I want to talk more about AI in a moment here, which you just alluded to. But this machine here that is creating a risk-on environment, meaning it's keeping rates artificially suppressed, killing the currency, and inflating the debt, is going to push cash into risk assets. The stock market trades on higher multiples. You got corporations buying back shares of their own stock. You got, debt, the old debt being refinanced with new debt cheaply, something small businesses can't do in the same manner. And unfortunately, and the small businesses are shuttering at a pace we've never seen. But anyway, looking at, you see, what's happening, and it's been happening for quite a long time, is we got what I call the Crimex. You know, you probably heard me use that term before, the Comex, the Crimex, and it's rigging the metal prices of even commodity prices across the board. And that's a mechanism I think that we can all use to our advantage, because again, the narrative several weeks ago was that gold is in a bubble. Gold is in a bubble. As a fact, it just came out yesterday. One of the major, I forget which one it was, talking about gold and the stock market being a simultaneous bubble. It's an impossibility. It can't happen. What is happening is the stock market obviously is in the most massive, most destructive, potentially destructive bubble in the history of the world. And you could say that gold is in an inverse bubble. And with regard to the price action here, other than any asset today, there's no price discovery anymore, where you have a mechanism of artificial suppressed rates, currency devaluation, invested expansion. So it creates distortions that are just so big. I can't even get my own head around it, but we just realize that they exist. Now, realizing that, it gives us an enormous edge. So, and with what's happening here with the Crimex, keeping the price of gold sort of artificially suppressed. I mean, every drop, I mean, I don't care. We all know where this is going to go. And it's too simple to track the how cash moves through the system in a particular environment. In this kind of environment, again, artificial rate suppression, currency devaluation, invested expansion, it's going to make its way into risk assets. Now, that's going to change. Now, what we have here is a very, very, very dangerous situation. That is this alliance between the Fed and the Treasury. The Fed and the Treasury have now become the lender and buyer of last resort by keeping rates artificially suppressed. What this mechanism does is it pushes away natural buyers of debt. It allows the Fed Treasury complex to corner the market on debt so they can own it all. Imagine if people actually had any idea this is actually going on, but that is what's happening. And this allows this complex to yank the chain whichever way they want to yank it here. And again, going back to the no price discovery, you have the same mechanism here managing the entire yield curve. I don't think they're done keeping the yield curve managed and fostering this wealth transfer effect. And just real quick, touching on what's happening with AI, the language, especially lately, I would say over the past several weeks out of Elon Musk, is frightening. He's saying AI, he's actually portraying AI as a savior, not as a tool. Putting it together is like, okay, if we allow this and this, that, and this to happen, there'll be no need for people to work. There's gonna be so much abundance here, but it really comes down to who controls it, of course. Yeah. But I don't like this savior speech out of the man's mouth, because again, he has a huge following and people really believe in this guy. So he's a master at one thing, and it's dangerous in my opinion. He takes truth and then lies and misinformation, and then puts it together in such a way that it actually sounds completely true. So you listen to a lot of people are going to hear out of his mouth, well, AI is going to erase the U.S. debt in 3 years. We heard the same thing out of Trump's mouth during his last tenure here. What happened to the debt? It ballooned, of course. Again, this is not a savior. Is AI a tool? Yeah, I think it is a tool. Personally, I don't like utilizing it, I'll be honest with you, to any large degree. But I think the way it's being portrayed is very dangerous. Another golden calf, in a way, out of the mouth of what I call the priests of Babylon.
Yeah, very biblical there, and I agree. AI has become such a cult. It's obvious. It's obvious. I mean, even with businesses that I deal with, they always are pushing the experimentation of different features, and I try to avoid it as well. I mean, studies are showing already people are relying on it a little bit too much, and that, of course, slows down your brain, slows down that critical thinking, the process of that creative process of the brain trying to discover and do your own research. And AI has done a lot of mistakes. So, and who controls AI? Who feeds it? Exactly. So that's something that we should be worried. But yeah, Elon Musk is such a key character in this.
Well, here's the situation with AI, man. AI is going to be fed or trained or whatever word, I don't know which word to use here, on specific data, specific narratives. So that, again, as more and more people use it, okay, and I hope it's unfortunate that I believe more and more people are going to utilize that, and it's going to be weaponized against people, because they're going to look at it as maybe a god or a savior, as Musk is kind of putting this together. And a lot of people say, oh, it's harmless, but I don't see that. I see especially young people looking at it. You said it makes a lot of mistakes. Yeah, it does make mistakes. And that's interesting to think about. But the fact of the matter is, I think it's going to be about narrative control. It's going to be about maintaining a particular perspective and a mind screwing more than allowing people to expand their minds. I mean, look what's happening. You got jobs being wiped out via this mechanism here. I try my hardest to never use like when I go to a store and I buy something, I want a person at that register. I don't want to go to the checkout where there's just, some kind of a computer thingy, and they don't charge. You don't get to save any money. They charge you the same whether you're using the computerized AI checkout or you're using a real human being. I'd rather interact with that real person, give that person a job. Yeah. This is what I want people to do. Stop with that thing. And then we got this whole biometric ID thing. Everything that right now is becoming biometric. Dude, it's very dangerous in my opinion. Yep. And it's all about control, which I've been trying to warn people about, you too, for a very long time. So at least there are voices out here in the wilderness. And I hope people are trying. I hope people are listening. I really do.
Yeah, at the end of the day, the power of it's about regaining our own power. These structures mean nothing. It's all a perception game, right? And more and more people, I see some change. There's definitely more chatter where people are seeing where this is going and how everything ties in together. I like to look at the ECB, and especially in Europe, what they're doing. I mean, they discuss how they want to push in the new year digital euro and confiscate cash not being used. And notice it's always a problem that is first introduced by them, they wait for the reaction, and then you have that solution. And people in Europe are protesting that. We're seeing more and more countries now rebel against Brussels. I don't know if you heard about Italy. They were talking about repatriation of their gold and a potential move to have an exit. So this is very interesting. I think that Europe will be once again the epicenter of this, where we will see a lot of advancements towards that, and then the pushback. So hopefully that can inspire people here in North America. We tend to be a little bit slow in our reaction, but I wanted to ask you, so do you think the CME crash was something artificial? Because it's been over-engineered. There's so much backup technology. Apparently, you think this was just to suppress the price and sort of undermine the whole demand?
Well, look, I mean, the whole mechanism, again, going back to the root cause, the root issue is price discovery, and we don't have it. I can't say. I mean, I can tell people with certainty that there is none. Whatever the CME or the Crimex or it doesn't. I mean, the grand scheme of things, if we just sit back and we just look at the way things are, how can people believe in any way, shape, or form that anything is real? That's number one. But we can expect a lot more events to occur, and this is what I believe that we're going to see moving forward. They are going to push harder themes, like, for example, you shouldn't own commodities, lessen your exposure to these things, especially gold or silver. With the bubble talk several weeks ago, now they turn it off, and now it's coming back. Now it's a bubble again. And then what people need to ask the question is, when you hear that this particular one, just really drives me crazy, baby. Gold is overvalued. Okay, based against what? There's no denominator. They eliminate the denominator, and they feel like, I suppose, that people are going to buy it. Oh yeah, it must be because gold is X. And my bottom line is, I don't listen to any of it. I don't care what price action manipulation is happening at any given time, because it all is stemming from the debt market rigging, which is beyond belief. Anything that I've ever thought I would see in my lifetime, and going back to the Fed Treasury Alliance or complex or unholy alliance, I call it, whatever it might be. It's just a terrible situation that I call it checkmate. I think they've checkmated us by allowing that alliance to even exist. It shouldn't. No organization should have that much kind of power, but that's been the goal of central banks forever, to own it all, and they have got us, and that's been control the data, control perception, as you spoke. But it's all about perception. Let them do what they want. They're going to keep doing it. But I can say this: the people that follow our work, thankfully, can see it. I really believe that most people can't. I mean, I talk to people every day. I'm sure you do too. First of all, you start just a conversation about this. Let's say if you're talking to someone who you feel like maybe has a certain level of intellect, and maybe you want to throw something in, all of a sudden their face goes blank. They turn white. Their blood just drains from them. They can't. Once again, it's almost like an overload. They're nervous system overloads. They can't deal with it. But yeah, and it also depends on, I think, people's socioeconomic status as well. If people are, let's say, in the upper echelon, they don't really give a damn until it hurts them or hits someone in their own family. They don't care about anybody else, and that's a problem. This disconnect between people. This is why I say we need to unify, all of us, and come together. And that's where our strength is. Now over in Europe, yeah, you're right. People are kind of pushing back. Here, I don't see it anywhere. I see a society that continues to decay and rot away and feels powerless. And it's a literal psychological weaponization. It's called learned helplessness. It's a real thing. People need to research this. And right now, the system has people locked into a state of, in fact, learned helplessness. Because again, just a little pushback, they wouldn't be able to pull off the things that they do. So yeah, I'm glad to see, at least in certain parts of the world, this is happening. Is it enough? I hope it continues to grow. I really, really do. But people, you see, the issue is people are going to have to be willing to sacrifice. Now, if they control the mechanism and control, let's say, your data, your biometric IDs and all that stuff, that means they can squeeze you even harder. And I believe that moving into 2026 globally, especially here in the United States, which is the hub, people are going to get squeezed even harder. Unfortunately, I hate to sit here and say that, but the people that follow our work, at least they're taking action, and that's really what it's all about.
Definitely. And as we speak right now, I was noticing that silver just pierced the $60 price, which is good to see. You know, one of the first videos I remember you talking was silver. So you were the first to bring my attention to silver and how underappreciated it is, how undervalued it is in comparison to other things. Now, in the last video, we discussed a little bit about the markets, and you gave us a little bit your outlook, how we'll be grinding higher, pushing higher. You also had told us to kind of hold off from commodities because you don't see that being a good play at the moment, aside from gold and silver, which isn't really exactly commodity. It's more of a real money or insurance, if you will. Where do you see the markets going? Do you follow the narrative of like a blow off top and then a massive depression such of the 1920s, or do you see this continuing until the Treasury is really just left out of the trifecta and going into an opposite direction? What are your views there?
Well, I'm a guy that believes in being in many spots at the same time. Core holdings here, commodities, if you want to call them that, gold, silver, I think they're real money. We know they're real money. They are the anti-debt. They're in an inverse bubble of the highest order. I mean, you got people talking about the stock market, as we just alluded to a little while ago, and gold is in a bubble. It's unbelievable. Gold is, if anything, in a inverse bubble. So yeah, we need to keep adding to our positions, physical positions, as much as possible, wherever you are. I think this is the core spot to be in. With regard to the stock market, tech is going to outperform. Again, going with the AI theme. Everyone knows my position on that. I have a large position in JEPQ. I will continue to reinvest my monthly dividend in JEPQ. If I do see a big drop, I mean, tomorrow, with regard to the Fed decision, look, man, Wall Street wants what it wants, and it will get what it wants. Will it throw a tantrum even if it gets a rate cut tomorrow? I don't personally care if the Fed does cut rates or not. They're already managing the entire yield curve, and again, there's no price discovery mechanism behind anything anymore, so it doesn't matter in my view. But as long as they can keep rates suppressed here, again, via the mechanism of the Fed creating cash and getting into the market and buying all the debt, of course, well, then that mechanism is going to push cash into equities until it doesn't. Until a moment of this Fed Treasury complex pulling the plug. So we're going to, if I say this, if, for example, and I'm just throwing this out here, not saying that it will happen, but let's say tomorrow the market throws a tantrum, or even through the rest of the week, the market throws a tantrum because the Fed didn't cut enough or didn't give enough forward guidance moving forward, and the market sells off, I would be looking at that 10-year yield. If I see the 10-year yield drop, I would say buy the market right there. With regard to other assets, I mean, a lot of people that follow my work are into cryptocurrencies. I own a whole bunch of different ones. Bitcoin is my largest holding, so I would add to that position too. But expect volatility moving forward, no doubt about it. Because what does it come down to, man? It comes down to the same thing I've been telling people for a million years. It seems that is, again, the mechanism here is going to eventually, the plug will be pulled at a time of their choosing. We're going to see an uncontrolled sell-off in the debt market, and that's going to spike rates faster than people can imagine. You're going to see 20, 30, 40, 50 basis points jump higher in the 10-year yield. What is that going to do to the world stock market? It's going to crush them. They're going to literally become erased, and cash is just going to move from one set of assets into another. I believe it's going to go hardcore into massively suppressed or inverse bubble assets, gold, especially silver here. Where's the bottom? Look, man, when you hear anyone talk about gold being overvalued and not giving you a denominator, this is Greg's situation, Greg's denominator. And I've been saying the same thing for a million years, it seems, as well, is we're going to get a par or at least a 1-to-1 ratio Dow gold. So, but we have to figure out where is the gold, where's the Dow bottom. I mean, in a full-on meltdown situation, I think the stock market's 6 times overvalued right now. So, we're talking about a Dow potentially 6,000 or so, 8,000. I don't know the number, but I can say we're going to get a 1-to-1 par, or maybe even 2-to-1 favoring gold. So that's where that's going to go, and as a base case, So, and then we'll end up with a potential even a 10-to-1 gold silver ratio. So just do the math, everyone. It's basic stuff, very simple. So this is why I say, people need exposure to these things. Now, with regard to people that are in the market, and I've been telling people for the longest time, stay long, stay long, stay long. That's all based on what we see in action in the debt market. And I watch it like a hawk because, again, I got a lot of skin in the game as well. And I will alert the people that follow my work when I really feel like this is it, guys. We got to get out, lock in profits. Time to go. Yeah. And then, that's kind of how I see it, man. My perspective has not changed, and it's been the same for a very long time.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, with the bifurcation of this economy now, the only choice we have is really to follow that blueprint. And you're right. It's definitely a telltale sign. We've seen a little bit of murmurs, a few cracks with the whole Japan yen carry trade. We've seen the rates there going up. So a lot of people concerned of a repatriation of the capital that's been coming in the US back to Japan. But definitely a very interesting year coming in. I definitely see a lot of pressures increasing in all fronts. What is something for those who are listening, because I know we have a hard stop right now. What do you see things unfolding? What do you most importantly urge the listeners to do if they haven't prepared already for the next year?
Well, I would say review this video at least once, listen to the stuff that we say, and then people should do their own research. I want people to raise their own awareness. I want people to create alliances, unify with other people like-minded here, because what we're going to face is a worst-case scenario, and it's not going to be an accident. There's no policy error that got us here. This is all deliberate, and we're being squeezed from every angle. I would expect moving into 2026 that people are going to get squeezed much, much harder, unfortunately. And they're not ready for it. They think that there's maybe some light at the tunnel. There is none, unfortunately, unless they take action themselves. And people are going to need to get involved with what's happening, share the work that we do, get more people to see it if they can. But then you're going to run into a wall, unfortunately. Those people that don't want to hear it, those have been literally spiritually disenfranchised via the current. I mean, I don't mean financially. I mean spiritually disenfranchised from the current situation, surrendering themselves, lost sense of identity, regain who you are, and realize that you're not powerless. And I would say that's probably the biggest thing. I say start to take action in one way or the other, and it starts right here. By raising your awareness and sharing this work, get it out there.
Absolutely. Beautiful. Well, thanks so much, Gregory. I hope you guys enjoy this video. You got some of the pointers and tips what to do, and we'll keep in touch. Gregory, thanks so much for your time. Lovely seeing you.
Thank you, man. Thanks for having me.